We will not state the questions, but will directly address the answers. Our answers will be perceived differently when you are in different states of consciousness. For example, in your 3D beta wave state of consciousness, you may think that you know the truth, but when you are in your 4D alpha, or, especially, your 5D gamma wave consciousness, you will know that you must live the truth. Knowing the truth, or what you currently perceive as the truth, is based on time, because it is a third-dimensional interpretation of interdimensional information/experience. On the other hand, when you live the truth, you flow out of your 3D time and into your 5D now, and then back again. Then your challenge is, with which frequency of my brain/consciousness do I share this information? The 3D brain is completely confused by the 5D information, and needs massive explanation for even the simplest 5D concept. The frequency of information received from your fifth-dimensional consciousness does not translate well into your third-dimensional consciousness. Therefore, much of this 5D information must be stored in the 4D aura. It can also be stored in the multidimensional mind, which we have discussed before. It is for this reason, among others, that we are taking humans through the fourth dimension. When you expand your consciousness into the fourth dimension via meditation or higher dream states, your 3D brain can temporarily collect the 5D information. Of course, this information must immediately be documented, as it will not adhere to the physical synapse of the 3D brain. We will now answer some of your questions and leave it to your personal discretion to determine if you will receive and/or live our answers. There are many who are asking, when is the time for ascension? Our answer is that ascension is always now, because when you ascend, you leave time. Many of our first ones to return have been able to leave time for quite a while. However, they usually forget that experience once they re-enter the time/space of the third dimension. We say to all you, and you do, know who you are, keep on leaving returning, and leaving time/returning to time. When you leave time, you have ascended into your fifth-dimensional energy package of multidimensional light. While in that timeless now of the One, you are reunited with your multidimensional self. Then when you return to your third-dimensional physical self, you feel as though you are waiting for the time of ascension. In reality, you are waiting for your next adventure beyond time. Your 3D and 5D self have made the agreement that once you remembered how to be firmly grounded in your 3D body and also fully connected to your fifth-dimensional light body, you would begin to remember your multidimensional life. You know from other incarnations that if you were not fully grounded in the 3D and you totally connected to the 5D, that, when you return to your 3D self, your physical self would become very lonely, depressed, and often physically ill. Part of this issue was because you were younger in your Earth years. Another part of this issue was that frequency of Gaia was much lower then. Therefore, when you returned from a 5D reality based on unconditional love, you had to return to a reality filled with fear, hate, wars, lies, and illusions. Since your 5D perceptions were still online when you returned to Earth, you could see through the 3D illusions of, it's all fine, to perceive just how frightening your 3D world was. Finally, you decided, while in your 5D body, that the switching back and forth was too intense on your third-dimensional emotions. The emotional turmoil of your return was also very challenging for your health. It was because of this health issue that many of you decided to wait until you were more mature, or the physical world was safer, before you continued your interdimensional travels. However, your more mature self also has many third-dimensional problems, so many of you still were not ready to fully return to your interdimensional traveling. In fact, your adult self looked back on your younger self with longing for a simpler life. Many of you have just recently discovered that if you fully explained to others your process of bilocation to yourself, that you could more easily explain it to your own 3D brain. Thus, you began to tentatively share your interdimensional experiences with other warriors for the light. Humans have often thought of warriors as killers, but we galactics think of warriors as saviors of any form of reality that must be protected until it is the now of great change. As a warrior, you learn that you must listen to your commander, who is a member of your own multidimensional self. You also must have unity and trust with your fellow warriors, as well as your leaders. We say this to you now because you are all being prepared to be a warrior for Gaia, who is also ready to fully connect with her galactic expression of self. You see, all of you, persons and planet, are preparing to enter the unity with all life in the fifth dimension. In fact, the term warrior for your new life is being transmuted into the term creator of your new reality. However, it is important that you experience your warrior stage, as it takes great courage to be a creator of reality. In past versions of Earth, only males could be warriors, but that has now changed. Therefore, the terms male and female has largely been transmuted from the old meaning of separation between genders to the now meaning of the two poles of spirit. To understand what we are about to say, you must remember that there is nothing in the universe besides spirit. Therefore, whenever you feel as though you are traveling through darkness, you are actually traveling through the illusion of darkness. There are two poles to spirit. There is the positive, active and directing pole, as well as the negative, passive, receiving and assimilating pole. These poles have nothing to do with gender, but have a great deal to do with creation. All creation is in a state of becoming, and perfection is the goal. The positive pole, often known as the first ray of spirit, manifests as energy out, and the negative pole, the second ray, is known as the receptacle of that energy. These two poles unite in order to create form. The first ray of non-manifest spirit enters the second ray. The second ray takes in this non-manifest spirit and creates a form for this spirit. This dynamic has often been known as Father, Mother, God. These two poles of spirit and matter are now joining within the one to create a quarter for Earth to enter her higher dimensional planetary expression. This manifestation, as with all manifestation, begins inside. Just as the manifestation of a new human begins within the core of the mother, the manifestation of a new planet begins within the core of that planet. All new life stems from the core, such as the core of the mother, the planet, the solar system, the galaxy, and the core of the universe. Just as the male plants the potential of a human in the core of the female, spirit plants the potential of creativity into the core of every physical being. In this manner, all human creations stem from their own potential of creativity. However, this spiritual potential must be planted into the matter of your physical world. Because we galactics resonate beyond time, we could perceive that humanity would need assistance from their galactic family to overcome the vast indoctrination of too many eras of darkness. We tried to land on your planet to assist you with your process of ascension, but our information was hidden by the Dark Ones and forgotten by the masses. Thus, we realized that we would have to lower a component of our personal galactic frequency net into physical humans. Therefore, some of us volunteered to take an incarnation on Earth during your time of great transmutation. Once our Earth vessel was born through the traditional 3D manner, the essence of our higher dimensional galactic self was implanted into that physical expression of our self. This implantation had to occur either at birth or during an event in which that person moved into the delta wave consciousness of beginning or ending life. Hence, we could only plant the higher dimensional essence into the Earth shell when the portal to that shell/body was opened. Some of those who were implanted still slumber, some have perished in a dangerous world, and some are actively serving us. When we say us, we mean the members of our Galactic Federation, which extends beyond just the Arcturians. You, the brave volunteers from our Federation, have now fully merged with your grounded expression of self. We were careful to implant the earthbound ones with the essence of their own multidimensional self. Therefore, your own higher dimensional expression has bilocated some of his, her, its essence into your current third-dimensional expression. For many of our volunteers to join your third-dimensional expression, this is the first time in many millennia that you have experienced wearing an individual third-dimensional form. At first it was an adventure, then it became a challenge, but now the experience has greatly changed. This changes that now the earthly human vessels are starting to transmute back into a fifth-dimensional light body. Therefore, we galactics are having very unique experiences of transmutation that some of us have never experienced. Some of us have never worn a physical shell, but we volunteered to wear an earth vessel because we loved Gaia. Those of us from Arcturus, Sirius, and the Pleiades have had an intimate relationship with the beloved being known as Gaia. Gaia, the early Greek word for earth. Gaia is such an evolved being that only a planetary body was sufficient to contain her energy field. Gaia has now completed her planetary tour of the third dimension and is ready to transmute into her planetary tour into the fifth dimension. When this transmutation occurs, those of us galactics who bilocated into a human form, while also keeping our galactic form, will have a unique experience of meeting ourself. We are aware that you perceive yourselves as Earth humans. In the same manner, we perceive ourselves as galactic beings. Some are in humanoid form, and some not in humanoid form. When our human self ascends, we will meet this component of our multidimensional self as a seemingly separate being. Of course, our Earth human will then be wearing a fifth-dimensional light body. However, that projection of ourself has taken his/her own individual identity. How we will integrate these individual versions of ourself into our galactic society is unknown. Many of our volunteers have become very attached to Gaia and may choose to live on fifth-dimensional New Earth. Some of them/you may wish to return to and/or visit their/your homeworld and/or ship. These challenges are by no means a problem. In fact, because we live within the now, we see the solutions. However, we share this information with all of our grounded volunteers so that you, too, can ponder the now of your return to self. This return is closer in your time than you might suspect. Hence, we wish to remind our brave volunteers who have bilocated to 3D Earth that once you have decided to return to your light body, you will be within the unity consciousness of your own galactic self. Within the unity consciousness, you will remember all the versions of yourself that you have ever taken since your initial decision to enter the adventure of taking a form on planet Earth. We will not tax your 3D brain by trying to explain how you will be able to easily have all these perceptions while in the now. We have stated these questions because we wish you to ponder your return to self. We ask you these questions because you are beginning to remember your multidimensional self. Therefore, your 3D brain is trying to connect with your 5D brain within your own higher states of consciousness. Beloved returning ones, please continue to allow your 3D brain to ask questions that appear impossible or even ridiculous. These questions are the beginning of the neural net that is awaking in your 3D brain, that is attached to your true 5D expression of self. The more you ponder this connection, the more you will activate that neural network of these fifth-dimensional synaptic junctions. Every time you activate that network in your physical brain, that small path becomes a dirt road, then becomes a wider street, and eventually becomes a freeway of two-way information. Eventually, this two-way circuit will guide you home to the unity consciousness with yourself. We joyously await that now.